Welcome back to the Morning Blood. Did you hear that story last week? There was this family in Washington State, and they were actually given a discount on their restaurant bill. And the bill even said this. It said, for well-behaved kids. Not all kids, though, are so well-mannered. But our next guest says that parents should not insist that kids apologize when they've done something wrong.
Yeah, joining us now is award-winning author Mary O'Donoghue, and she wrote this book, When You Say Thank You, Mean It. I think this is a great topic. It's going to sound very controversial to a lot of parents listening to hear someone say, if your kids do something wrong, don't make them say, I'm sorry. Is that kind of where you're going with this?
Well, yes. I mean, have you ever been, if you're a parent and you've been on a playground and, your 5-year-old son goes up and sees a friend from school and from kindergarten and he sees, oh, he's got a new toy, and he goes up and grabs it. And then as a parent, you say, give that back. And then you say, and say you're sorry.
Absolutely. I've heard it a million times.
Right now. Say you're sorry right now. So we not only tell our kids to say they're sorry when they probably don't mean it, but we insist upon it. And yet on the other hand, we're telling our kids, don't tell lies, always tell the truth, but say you're sorry right now. Well, your son may have thought, oh, that looks fun, I'll just grab that. He may not have understood why it was wrong or inappropriate. So before he's even had time to process, we're insisting he apologize. So we're kind of teaching our kids to say you're sorry when you don't mean it.
So your problem with saying you're sorry and demanding it right then is that it's disingenuous.
Exactly.
That it's not coming from the right place, the heart. Okay, so what you suggest is a little space and time before apologizing, right?
And in that scenario, that can be kind of tricky because the other mom is standing right there probably, and your son just grabbed her son's
By the way,
toy.
we're not going to be saying we're sorry. I'll give you your toy back, but we're not saying sorry. Yeah.
And so what I used to do is say, give that toy back and say you're sorry right now. And now what I would do is say, my kids are older, but I would say, give that back. And then I would turn to the mom and I would say, my son owes your son an apology. But in this moment, I don't know if he really understands what he did as being wrong or inappropriate. So I'm going to say, on behalf of my son, I'm really sorry that this happened. And because we know you and we'll see you in kindergarten later this week, my son, when he really feels it, will give your son the true apology your son deserves.
I like that. I like it because you're communicating to the other parent and recognizing the fact that they may parent differently, which is, I think, a very good acknowledgement. But I like what you say is that it's that they don't realize really in that moment that they've hurt someone else.
Right.
And that to have a genuine apology, you need to recognize what you did in that moment and how it could have affected that other person.
Right.
So you suggest a 3-step apology, and let's kind of go through it and lay it out for people so that they can see if this is an approach that might work for them. Starting with what?
Well, first is when you feel sorry, express that. Say, I'm sorry or I apologize. And step 2 is for what? So I'm sorry I took your toy away at the playground.
Why is the last step so important? You say add one more sentence about what happened.
Well, because when you get home and you talk to your son about it, he can say, oh, okay, well, I shouldn't have taken the toy. I'm sorry, Bobby, I took your toy at the playground. Okay, let's go play. When you say, you now have to add another sentence from your heart that has something to do with what happened. It's, I'm sorry, Bobby, that I took your toy from the playground. I won't do it again because I realize it was wrong to take your property. Or
I know how much you like that toy. I shouldn't have just grabbed it from you.
It can be anything. If your kids are at home and one of your children is 12 and she's playing the TV real loud while your 10-year-old is studying for a test. And, that can be an upsetting situation for your 10-year-old. When your 12-year-old apologizes, she could say, I'm sorry, Susan, I was playing the, music too loud or had the TV volume too loud. Next time I'll be more considerate.
So it's really about the other person. It's not an added sentence about why you did it.
Right.
Which I think could easily
it's something
be done.
to sort of express, I didn't realize that upset you, or I'm not going to do that again, or I'm going to try my hardest to be more considerate next time.
We're running out of time. I want to move to a slightly older kid's example too, because you have a 16-year-old son. Why did you bring this big ball?
Okay, so
because it's about grudges, right? Holding grudges.
So this is the other side. So now let's say somebody has hurt his feelings. Let's say he was left out of a party that he wanted to attend and he's really upset, or I got really late in traffic and didn't pick him up on time from practice or something, and he's upset.
So this is about forgiveness.
This is carry this around. So this is, I give this to him and I say, hold on to this, okay? This is that grudge you're carrying around. Now, it's not heavy. He can carry it. A 5-year-old could walk around with this. But don't put it down until you're ready to let go. Well, that helps the child understand, a 16-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 5-year-old, that when you hold on to it, it's not about the other person. It's about you. You're the one carrying that grudge. So I might be sorry or not sorry or whatever. That doesn't matter. The other person being sorry or not doesn't really matter. You're the one carrying the burden. So this is sort of to illustrate for them in a very real way that if you don't accept forgiveness, that this is what's happening.
And how can parents help kids understand the power of forgiveness?
Well, I think it's really important, and when you show sort of a visual idea like this, I think kids can really understand that when you don't forgive, you carry a burden, and that it's really important to let go and to move forward in your life, because you can carry a lot of things. I mean, I even think about something like this, little burdens, a bunch of these little ones, you know, and they sort of add up over time. And that's why forgiveness is so important, both on the forgiving side and the receiving forgiveness.
But is it letting somebody off the hook to forgive them?
You know, I don't think so, because, you know, somebody could do something that hurts your feelings. They may not even be aware it hurt your feelings. They may have been thinking about something else. They may not care if it hurt your feelings. It doesn't matter. What matters is if you're the one holding on to that grudge, holding on to that bitterness, it's only going to hurt you. So you need to really take your power and release that and move on.
I think it's wonderful. I think you probably changed a lot of minds in that, those few minutes there. And here's where you can find Mary's book. It's maryo'donohue.com to learn more about this idea. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
It's great information. Thank you.